Welcome to the Sound of Movement podcast. Today we are starting a brand new week talking about program design, and I am genuinely excited about today's show. It's all about the reward for patience and consistency, and we're going to be talking about one of our best testimonials to date, Tom Wood. Stick around.
Like Vasquez in Aliens, let's rock, people. If you're new to the tribe, Rich is behind the mix. Rad is at the table with me, Yanni Burmeister, and we are Unity Gym experts at turning driven people into athletes. This episode is brought to you by the Unify Movement System, the only program effectively balancing strength, flexibility, and fitness so you can unleash your inner athlete. Get daily coaching by us, plus our epic Foundations Prep program and revolutionary structural balance blueprint to create your ideal program and optimize your performance. Usually I would say at this point, as a valued listener, use the link in the description for your first month free. But right now, if you are listening to date, we have another 5 days of an epic flash sale where you can get a lifetime discount at 50% off. Use the link in the description for that. Otherwise, if you're on the UMS Movement Mastermind Facebook group, there's a link pinned to the top of the page. Everyone listening on the podcast will make sure you got a link for that one too. Big warm welcome if you are listening to the live stream on the UMS Movement Mastermind Facebook group. Leave a comment and we'll send you some love. Remember, anyone can join and interact. And lastly, big shout out to you guys on our YouTube page. Hit the like button, support the channel, and subscribe if you like what you see. Okay, joining us today is Phil White from ADPT Physio. How are you today, brother?
Mate, I go away for a week and now you've got Aliens references in the intros. Just can't keep up. Mate, I'm stoked to be back. I've just started my alternating weeks between the south coast of New South Wales and Jervis Bay and Sydney, and I had a great week away. Got a lot done, but stoked to be back on the podcast and connecting with you guys.
Awesome.
Just a nice place to be.
Awesome. We just had an explosion of love down in the corner there. Who's that? Let us know who you are and where you're tuning in from if you're watching the live stream in the Movement Mastermind group. How are you, Rad? How are you, Richie?
Good.
I'm great. Well, I was waiting for Richard. I was going to let him get his little word in.
Rad was off in another world.
I'm not off in another world. I'm focused exactly on what we're talking about today, and I was just looking at the post.
He's still just staring at Tom Wood's photo.
No, I was just waiting for the intros to be finished. I'm great, and I'm excited to be doing this show because, Richie, if you can bring up the picture, we just had one of our most senior students, one of the first people that joined the UMS online coaching group. I'd say it would be close to 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure we launched in January 2019. I'm pretty sure. And he just did a really nice post for us, which I'm going to read in a sec. But it goes with this picture. And the transformation is absolutely amazing that Tom's had. Especially if you consider the story that goes along with it. So I'm going to read this story, and hopefully Richie can get the picture up on the stream. So Tom has said, if you're on the fence about the UMS online coaching program, just do it, and do it now whilst it's on offer. I joined the UMS. If you don't know, that means Unify Movement System. Tom says, I joined UMS from the start and I was broken. Still lifting weight, but in constant pain from my knee. I thought I knew everything and I didn't need to do the Foundations program, which is the first part of the UMS you do. And he continues to say, I was wrong, very wrong. I had major imbalances in my body, as you can see from the photo on the left. My pelvis was twisted, hip hike is written in brackets there, which was causing so many problems in my body, but mainly constant pain in my right knee. And I've had 2 surgeries on this knee. I tried everything: foam rolling, acupuncture, stretching, massages. I saw specialists who said it was a leg length discrepancy and recommended heel insert, which caused more pain. No matter what, I couldn't get out of pain. I tried stretching and strengthening for a twisted hip, which gave brief relief, but nothing stuck until the UMS. UMS built up my foundation and sorted out my imbalances. After doing the Foundations program, I was able to test myself, find where I was weakest, and create a specific program just for me. And guess what? It worked. Just look at the photos. Before starting UMS, I was 88 kilos and in constant pain. The picture on the right, taken yesterday, so the one from left to right is 2 years difference, is me weighing in at 81 kilos, so he's lost 7 kilos. But I've packed on more muscle. I'm now pain-free, no more hip twist, and a hell of a lot happier. Just ask my family. UMS has not only made me pain-free, but I'm stronger, more flexible, sleep better, and I'm able to play with my children without popping painkillers. On top of all this, with the UMS, you also get access to the daily coaching calls, which are worth the subscription fee alone. And then there's just a bunch of really nice stuff that he says about us there. But I mean, check that out. That is just amazing, because what he's saying, what I'd like to say before you guys give your 2 cents is, he looks like he's built muscle from left to right. You can see that there's hypertrophy in his arms, especially, also in his legs. But if he's lost 7 kilos, and let's say maybe he's put on 2 or 3 kilos of muscle. So if you've lost 7 kilos, he must have lost 10 kilos of fat. So the physical transformation itself is what a lot of people aspire for within a program. But that's not the goals of our program. The goal of the program is to just make you move well, be stronger, but become pain-free and get in great shape. And so I just think it's amazing. I think it's so cool. And I'm so grateful that Tom has shared this story, because the topic of today's show, we're talking about program design, and what I wanted to talk about, the last thing I want to say on this little rant is, where so many people get it wrong is they don't understand that patience and consistency are 2 of the most important ingredients. You have to drop this, we've talked about that all or nothing mentality, and you have to develop this patience and consistency mentality.
And become process focused. And the thing that I will say, I mean, first of all, it's a great testimonial. I actually used it today in an email that I sent out to our database of 140,000 people, because I was so inspired and impressed by it. So thank you very much, Tom, for sharing that. The timing couldn't be better, because we're running our flash sale invite for everyone at the moment. So it's fantastic timing for us. But the thing that I love about this the most, which a lot of people are going to overlook, which is unfortunate because we all like to achieve everything yesterday, but the thing that's so special about Tom Rood's transformation is that, it happened over a number of years. It happened over at least a year and a half, I think, and that's really, really important, because it means that it's probably going to be sustained for many, many years to come, because it didn't happen overnight.
Yep.
He worked for it. He became very process focused. He has not only transformed his body, and quite frankly, I've got friends who own body transformation gyms, and you can go there and in 12 weeks you can, in a photograph you can transform immeasurably, and that's what they pride their business on. They give these ridiculous body transformations of either weight loss or muscle gain, but you don't know what's happening underneath the surface with how much they're beating up the body to achieve that, Whereas what Tom's done is the complete opposite. He's overcome all of the issues that he was having that were restricting him and restricting his movement and restricting his happiness, quite frankly. That's the most obvious thing from one photo to the next, is he just genuinely looks happy, And I think that's really big. I think that's huge.
Yeah, no, it really excites me to see, because there's so many ways of skinning a cat, and you can do so many different exercise programs out there. You could go transform, you could do a starvation diet and then some bodybuilding to look kind of get a similar look probably to what Tom has, but that there is no way that if you did that in the fastest possible way and, with a different program that didn't, build in structural balance and learning movements, and also, he's really engaged in the education side of this, which I think plays a big role in, he's talking about how he's designing his own programs. And I think that's the beauty of the online coaching, is it takes you from a fairly generalized program that will, help beginner people kind of get most of the way there, but then he's learned a lot. He's learned about pain science. He's learned how to really work on these deficiencies and come away with the stuff that excites me there is he's playing with his kids without painkillers. His family's seen a difference in him, and you can be 100% sure that if he had gone for just a image transformation, non-functional bodybuilding kind of approach, that he wouldn't be feeling that same way. So it's just amazing to kind of see how that journey has gone on and what a happy result he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be completely frank here. Tom's only just getting started.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. He's just built his foundation, and now his foundation is sort of set. he can really start to go for it and unlock. He qualifies for, really going into his calisthenics if he wanted to, or deploying his now new capability into a sport or a hobby, or if that's just keeping up with his kids. I know how important that is as a dad just about to turn 41 and chasing kids around. Like it's important, and I think that that's really it's a very exciting place to be when you've built a foundation like that, and it's kind of like becoming wealthy and having a few $1 million in the bank and going, well, where am I going to deploy this now? It's freaking awesome.
And I'm
It's a
sure that
great feeling.
a lot of people you see this transformation like, oh, I wish I it's such a long road. Like 2 years seems like a long way away, but like think about the scale of a lifetime. Like 2 years is nothing. So if you take that, that process approach of like just putting in the groundwork so you can really build that great foundation and then, keep kicking goals from there, then it's...
And this is why the topic of today's show is patience and consistency, because yes, when you look forward, like, even for me, even being somebody that teaches this to people with you guys every day, when I look forward at 2 years, of course your mind goes, oh wow, 2 years is a while away. But because I've done this so many times now, I learned to detach from that and just stay focused on the process. Because once you have actually, if you've ever achieved something in your life that took you a while to do, and some people that are listening to this may never have done this. There are plenty of people that have never actually stuck to a 1, 2 or 3 year plan, like really stuck to it and gotten to the end and seen a result. And I think probably for most people that have done it, the one thing that I find that I can speak to most people, at least around North Sydney, is like getting some kind of an education, right? Be it a certificate 4, be it a degree, a diploma, whatever it is, but something that is... You sign up for something, you do X amount of time, and at the end you have a qualification that allows you to go and further your career. You don't, when you look forward at it, often it turns people away, but when you look back on it, it just went like that, and you don't think about that time, but you have this thing that is so, so valuable, like we all know the value of an education and a qualification, of course, and the value that Tom's got there to be in that body that he's in now. But like you said, Phil, to be able to understand programming and understand how to customize his own programs with the UMS, like that is invaluable. Yep. When you get to that level with your training, where, like, if you notice, Tom doesn't actually ask that many questions in the UMS online coaching anymore. He gives advice a lot, and his advice is amazing, but he very rarely asks us questions.
Yep.
Because he's come to that point where he knows.
Yeah.
He knows how to do it.
Yep.
And that takes time, and that's why the key ingredients and the topic of today's show, patience and consistency. Like, sign up for something, decide you're going to do it, and then detach from that goal, focus on the process, and just be patient and consistent.
Well, Tom's very lucky because he's done a lot of online programs before. So he was in a position where he would be able to identify when something is, I'm using quotation fingers here, revolutionary or valuable or different, something that stands out a bit because it's unique and good. And so he was able to see that and not be looking for the next shiny object. He was able to identify that, wow, this is worth paying attention to and to go all in on. And not a lot of people have that background. He's done that. Like, if I've seen the list of different online programs that he's done, because he's been training for quite a while, for a decade, before we met him, and I was like, holy crap, you're going to be a great person to give us feedback because he's so well versed in different trying different things, and giving them a real good shot too, not like just going, oh, do this for a month then jump ship. He's sunk his teeth into it for a good 6 to 12 months.
Well, he was doing other programs. He said a total amount of time of 15 years.
Yeah, that's
he was
right.
saying.
Yeah. And so that I thought that was really impressive. But the thing to really understand here is that you like, this is the most important thing. Like, what we're talking about right now is the most important thing in training, is to be patient and to just really, really adopt a mindset of, okay, I'm not just going to do this thing to make it as easy as possible. I'm going to really sink my teeth into it and learn from it, so that I, it's the whole don't take a fish, learn to fish, and that's why we make our online coaching tribe who stick around for that long and really learn to understand it, moderators in the UMS Movement Mastermind group, because they've got a lot of value to add.
Yeah.
They start to really understand things, and then they can teach that.
Yeah.
And if we go on to the next little testimonial that we wanted to talk about today, which I am as impressed with. I think it was Nick Eddy.
Nick Eddy, yeah. It's
Eddy.
just below Tom's.
Yep.
If you scroll down just below it, I can read it
Yep.
while Rich is trying to find it. There's no picture for this one. It's actually just some text. But Nick Eddy has said, he's tagged Yanni, Richard, Phil, and myself in it, and said, just wanted to give you all
Just very quickly, before we read this next one, sorry to interrupt. We didn't ask for either of these.
Yeah,
they just randomly went, and it's funny because when one does something like this, like Tom, then Nick came afterwards, or maybe it was vice versa. I don't know, but and keep them coming, guys, because it really is beautiful for us to read this. It really reinforces that we're moving in the right direction, and it quite frankly makes us feel really good about coming to work every day. This is why we do it, But we didn't ask for these. So anyone who's listening to this is going, oh God, this is so corny that, they're just reading their testimonials out. No, this is really empowering stuff, and I think it's really inspirational. And if it's the difference between getting someone else up off the couch to start exercising, then we're going to keep reading these things out. So strap
there are
yourself
definitely
in.
lessons we learned from the testimonials. It's not just like, you guys are great.
Yeah, that's right.
So Nick Eddy is saying, I just wanted to give you all a shout out. I've been following you guys for close to a year now. Just started with looking for something to help with my flexibility and came across your stuff on YouTube. Started listening to your podcast and loved the content, and so got the intro to the foundations, and then eventually joined the online coaching and progressions, and still love all our stuff. So Nick is one of our tribe members in the UMS online coaching program. And then he says, but this is about my wife. She has suffered chronic pain from hips, back, and neck for a long time. She has seen neurologists, pain doctors, general physicians, chiropractors, physical therapists, and on. She has gotten pain meds, shots, massages, different exercise regimens to follow, etc. When I first started watching and listening to your podcast, you were talking about pain science and how all our pain is generated in the brain and not all of it is necessary. You talked about it in relation to stretching and stuff, also recommended a couple of books. It really was eye-opening, and I shared it with her, and it led her on a journey of reading the book you recommended and then others and learning a bunch about it. It has completely changed her life for the better and got rid of a lot of her pain. That was a long post just to thank all of you for caring and being so passionate about improving the quality of life for people. Just one of your many free podcasts and info you put out, but had a powerful effect on someone. Keep up the great work.
Unreal. And that
How
book
good is
was
that?
Norman Doidge.
Brain
Brain that
Norman
changes
Doidge.
itself,
No,
yeah.
The Brain's Way of Healing. It was his second book that I was referring to there. The Brain's Way of Changing was his first book, but The Brain's Way of Healing was really a culmination of his work, going to a couple of the research centres in the United States and around the world where they're pioneering a lot of this research about pain science and how they're helping predominantly amputee victims overcome phantom pain, which is mostly soldiers, ex-war vets.
Yeah, I know.
And it's a beautiful book. It's a brilliant book. I think a very important book for people to read. But he also cites throughout that book a lot of other books that he is recommended reading, which is really, really cool.
Yeah. No, I'm just so stoked to hear that comment. Like, obviously as the physio on the show, like this was something that is a real passion point for me, and it's just the kind of information that I want like everyone to know about as a default. Even if they're not necessarily injured at the moment or not, like seeing me as a patient. Like if everyone kind of had a better grasp of this, like I think the world would be a happier, more pain-free sort of place. So it's just so exciting to, kind of portray this great stuff that I've been learning, in my degree and beyond. And So it's just really nice to hear some good feedback that what we're talking about is making a bit of a difference. So.
And the big thing for me is that it's not just stopping with Nick. Our goal, and I know that Tom Wood has had the same impact on his family and his friends. He talks about the fact that he never shuts up about UMS. And I've seen his wife doing workouts with him, and this is our goal. Our goal is to educate so that it creates a rippling effect. And the best thing that we can ever hear is you guys paying it forward and having a positive impact on the people around you, because that's why we do this. We don't charge for the content that we're producing here on a daily basis, and we never will. It's about us just sharing what we've learned and sharing what we can through our own experiences and our own education so that you can pay it forward. And our mistakes, big time our mistakes, And the best possible outcome that I can imagine is that you pay it forward and you have a positive impact, the ripple effect that it creates throughout our community, It's very, very nice to hear that.
Yep. Yeah, and look, I think, considering that what we're doing this week, that we are putting the UMS on a lifetime discounted price for this week only. It's the one of only 2 times we do that this year. This is why I wanted to talk about this today. Because for those of you that have joined the program, when you start, I know that when I very first started doing online coaching, and I think maybe it was for business when I first started, and when you first log in and you look at how much stuff there is, how much content there is a kind of a moment of, oh my God, like there's so much overwhelm, and this patient and consistent process-focused mindset is just so critical. So for those of you that have joined the UMS online coaching program, look at Tom's testimonial and understand, think of where are you in life in relation to him, because most people that come to us aren't as broken as somebody like Tom was. Most people aren't. A lot of people have some kind of an injury and something going on, but Tom was in a lot of pain when he started, and he was struggling with a lot of things and had tried a lot. He wasn't somebody that had just decided to start exercising now. So, if somebody like him can get a result like this,
I think
just because I am a stickler for this sort of stuff, but I really don't like the term of him being a broken person. He just hadn't kind of wasn't doing the right sort of training, had some poor ideas and some poor guidance in the past from other health professionals about how his body was, and that was no doubt amplifying sort of the experiences he was feeling of having this, twisted pelvis sort of stuff. It's not that he was broken, he was just misguided, and now has
Sure. Yeah, and that's something that we talk about a lot, and I think it's really important that
words
you
matter.
Flip that.
Sure.
The way you communicate and the way you talk about things. I was once taught if you've got an issue, then you don't say I've got an issue, you say I'm working through an issue, or I'm working through this thing, because it immediately frames that there's an outcome that's positive as opposed to an outcome that's finite, definitive. Everyone has little things that they're working through when they come to see us. But the thing that I really want people to understand from a program design perspective, which is what this week is all about, and we're going to go deep on all the different elements of UMS and what makes it unique and what makes it effective from a program design perspective.
And it's one of the parts that, just like Tom, he's learned to write his own programs that are fitting within that framework. So
he didn't start there, and that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk to you about how everything fits together and why it's important that you understand how it fits together and what makes that so effective. Tom, when he came to us, like most people who have been training for 10 or 15 years, they reject the notion of doing a general preparations phase of training, because most people feel like I'm generally prepared for training already. I've been training for 10 to 15 years. Yep. And the problem was that's why he wasn't getting a result or a solution for the issues he was working through, because other people skip that step. They just go, okay, dive straight into this bodybuilding program, or dive straight into this calisthenics program, or dive straight into this powerlifting program, And the only people that I know that are doing it really effectively and well are people like us, people like Charles Poliquin was, people like Tony Battaji, people like Sebastian Oreb, where they generally have a program that balances your body first, because I've never met anyone who doesn't have some sort of a lifestyle related structural imbalance that they, will benefit from sort of balancing out or overcoming or working through, whether that's that your bench press is ridiculously strong in comparison to your horizontal row, whether that's that your, stability systems have never really been brought up to be in balance with your ability to bench press or chin up or things like that, whether that's that your lower body is completely out of proportion to your upper body, whatever it is that you have that you've steered your body towards, it's very important to understand why it's so revolutionary to just take a step back and go, all right, I'm going to just do this general preparations. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to do the 12 weeks or whatever it takes to get through it. And I know that I'm going to come out the other side in a more physically prepared state to take on more difficult training later on. And that's why Tom had such a great result with our program. He just did the work. Cool?
Love it.
All right, guys, bring it in for a landing. We're going to get ready for our UMS online coaching daily group coaching call now. So if you're in that group, jump over to the page.
And if you're not, join it. Right now, you've got the opportunity to get access to our UMS online coaching program, which means you would be joining us right now for this live coaching call where we actually deconstruct in great detail anything that you need help with, anything that you post a video on, your technique, whatever it is. And right now, for this week, you can get lifetime access for half price. You just need to click the link in our UMS Movement Mastermind Facebook group. Don't miss out.
A lot of our members say that the price to pay is is worth it just for these daily group coaching calls 10 times over. And then on top of the daily group coaching, you get all of the programs, all of the structure. You learn how to build your own programs after the foundations phase. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Anyway.
And more things always coming.
Like the app. Ooh. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, or you'll hear us tomorrow if you're on the podcast. Please give us a 5-star review if you're on the podcast. It helps us grow. And smash that like button on
YouTube
if you haven't already.
Just like Nick did, who, you think it could help.
Pay it forward. See you tomorrow.
Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that
It's
far.
the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.